Welcome back, McFly subscribers. We're starting a new series for the month of March, which is in continuation of last month's series. Last month, I made a series for the beginner tire, showcasing what tools and materials you need to get started, some techniques you should learn before you start, and a list of my top picks of patterns that you should start with, one for every category of fishing: nymphs, streamers, dries, and saltwater flies. This month, I will continue that with 4 more patterns that I believe will be a great next step after you have learned the basics with those first 4 patterns. We will start off with my pick for if you started with nymphs, and since you have now learned the zebra midge that taught you thread control, we will now learn the Hares nymph, which will teach you dubbing and material manipulation. We will start this very shortly, but in case you haven't seen this channel before, this is McFly Angler.
It starts now.
Okay, let's start tying. Place a hook and bead securely in your vise. For a hook today, I will be using 2 different hooks. I will be showing you a beaded version and a non-beaded version of this fly. When using a bead, you will want to go with a hook that has a slightly longer shank. And you can see these 9231s have a 2x long shank, and these 9214s are standard length. Both of these are size 12, but these are commonly tied ranging from size 8 to 20. However, I recommend that you keep to a size 12 to 16 for your first few, as really small nymphs can be difficult to tie. A size 12 hook could be paired with a size 3.2mm bead, and here you can see how a longer hook is important with the bead. After the bead is on, there is the same amount of tying room with this longer hook as the shorter one, because the bead takes up some of the tying space. We will also need some thread, and today I'm using Viva 6/0 in brown. This is a round thread that is very strong for its diameter. By the way, I think Vivas makes some of the best tying thread on the planet, and I was able to negotiate a deal for you all with Vivas. They're offering you all a free bobbin holder and a 10% off discount on their shop, just by being my subscriber and clicking a link in the description section of this video. More details about this deal will be at the end of this video. I will start off with the beaded version. Let's start our thread right behind the bead and snip or snap off the waist. Then let's make a few wraps right under that bead to stabilize it, and then bring our thread down to the bend of the hook. Now, this first version I am showing you will use pheasant tail for the tail of the fly, and I think that is easier for the beginner tyer. However, traditionally these use fur from a rabbit mask, which I will show you this technique on the next version. But if you choose to go with the pheasant for the tail, you will want to stroke out about 6 to 8 fibers to align the tips, and either rip them off the stem or cut them off with a razor blade. Then measure out about half a hook shank length, and tie this in at the back of the hook with 3 tight wraps. Now let's wrap over the fibers to about the midway point on the hook shank, and then cut them off. But keep this in place as we will use it later in this fly. Now for the ribbing. Traditionally, this French oval tinsel was used, which is great stuff, but can be difficult to come by, although Vivas does sell it on their website. Round tinsel could also work, like this. Flat mylar tinsel is also an option, and this stuff is gold on one side and silver on the other. Flashaboo is basically the same thing as this mylar tinsel, just not in a spool, and can come in many different colors. By the way, you could use a different color than gold. Silver and pearl are also popular, but gold is the most commonly used. Even wire will work fine, and I would use either brassy or medium size. I'm going to use this gold holographic Flashaboo for the first version here. Pull one strand out and clip it off the hank, and then let's tie this in. However, if you angle it straight and try to tie over it, it's soft and will jump out of the way. So turn it at an angle like this, and the thread will be able to capture it, and it should turn it to be straight. Okay, bring your thread down to the start of the tail, and now we need dubbing. Traditionally, these use dubbing from a hare's mask to create the rest of the body, and I will show you that later. But for the beginner tyer, it's easier to use a packaged dubbing. You can get this loose material from Hareline, and this stuff has both the spiky guard hairs and soft underfur in it. You will want to separate out some of the guard hairs like this and make 2 piles, one with mostly guard hairs and one that has mostly soft underfur. By the way, this stuff comes in many different dyed colors, and you could tie these however you want. Of course, most common will be the natural hare's ear color. Okay, let's use the bunch with less guard hairs first for the body. We will create something called a dubbing noodle on our thread. Separate out a little bit of the dubbing, and then twist it onto our thread. If you continue twisting, going the same direction, it will continue to compact, creating a tight and thin dubbing noodle. By the way, less is more here. Only attach small wisps of fur, and you want to make this noodle a bit tapered, so it's narrow near the hook and thicker by the bobbin. Okay, let's bring our bobbin holder close to the end of the noodle here, and then start winding this onto our hook shank to create an abdomen on the fly. We want this abdomen a bit tapered, so it's smaller down by the tail and gradually gets thicker. You want this abdomen to reach about halfway up the hook shank, but don't go too far here. Also, you can retighten the noodle if you need at any point. Now we want to rib this fly. So grab the tinsel and start wrapping it around the hook shank with open spiral wraps. You want the wraps to be as even as possible, and it's okay to unwrap and rewrap to get the position correct if you need. Once you reach your thread, then capture the tinsel with a few wraps over it and cut off the waste. Now let's grab that piece of pheasant tail that we set aside and notice that there are two sides, a darker side and lighter side. Cut the butt ends flush and then tie this in so the butt ends are right up against the bend and it's directly on top of the hook. And also make sure the lighter side is facing up. Use your thumbnail to flatten and spread out the fibers a bit, and then tie up on top of this so you create a thorax that is about a half a hook shank length. Now take the bunch of dubbing that has more guard hairs in it, and let's dub this onto our thread, creating a more loose noodle this time. You can add more if you need, and we want this to be a fairly bushy thorax. End with your thread right behind the bead, and then stroke the pheasant tail fibers to flatten them, and then pull them up over the thorax to form a wing case. And tie this down with a couple tight wraps. Now you can cut the waist off and make a few more wraps to clean up the butt ends. Whip finish and your fly is now finished. This wing case is just too short in my opinion, and I should have tied it back just a little bit further. So this fly is ready to fish just like this. However, I like to clean it up a bit. I cut off any of the fibers sticking out from the abdomen area like this, and then use the tips of my scissors or a bodkin to pick out the thorax. These guard hairs will look like little legs moving under the water, and also it might be a good idea to cement the whip finish as well. I like using the Solares ultra thin resin. Use a handy paintbrush in the cap to paint a little around the whip finish, and when you cure it with your UV light, it will cure hard instantly. And there we have it, a variation of the bead head hare's ear. This is considered a variation because I use pheasant tail as the tail of this fly, rather than the fur from a hare's mask. But this fly will still catch tons of fish, and I believe it's much easier for the beginner to tie. However, if you want to try the original version, then let me show you how it's done. In this version, I will not be adding a bead. However, we do need some weight. So for that, I will be using weighted wire, either lead-free or lead wire. Now, I don't have any of the lead-free in the .015 size, but usually I try to use lead-free where I can because it's less toxic. Also, I like putting these wires in a bobbin holder for easier application. I'm making 6 wraps today, but you can make more or less depending on how heavy you want this. Push the wraps together, and I like positioning them slightly forward on the hook shank like this. Now we can start our thread right behind the hook eye, but don't snip off the tag end just yet. Instead, use it to jump over the lead wraps, and then you can snip it off. Okay, let's wrap back up over the lead wraps and back down to smooth out that section a bit. End with your thread down by the start of the hook bend. I will be showing you how to get the dubbing from the hare's mask in this version. First, we will need a tail. We will want to grab a pinch of fur from this area, I call it around the forehead of the mask, and cut that off as close to the skin as possible, as we need these fibers to be as long as we can get them. Pinch the tips of the fiber, and then stroke out the underfur. But you will want to save this, as this is a fairly guard hair free bit of fiber that can be used for the abdomen. Measure this out to about a half a hook shank length once again, and tie this in at the back of the hook at that measurement. Also continue tying up to just behind the lead wraps. And if you need, you can cut back the fiber so it stays behind the lead, but clean up that section, and then tie in the ribbing. Here I'm using that French tinsel to make this closer to the original pattern. Tie the ribbing back to the start of the tail, and then use the underfur from the tail to dub on a tight tapered noodle. Wrap the noodle up the body until you reach a little past halfway up the hook shank. And then start ribbing the fly. Again, try to make these wraps with even spacing. Capture the ribbing material and cut off the waist. Here I will be using turkey tail for the wing this time. Cut off a section about this large, and then tie this in on top of the hook like so, and cut off the waist. Use your thumb to flatten out the feathers, and then tie back until you're just shy of halfway down the hook shank. Now we need some bit of dubbing up here near the ear of the rabbit. This is a bit shorter and has lots of guard hairs in it. Mix this up in your fingers, and then dub this onto your thread and form a thorax with it. Since we don't have a bead, be careful not to dub too much close to the hook eye, but we want this to be a fairly bulky thorax. Add more if you need, until you have a thick thorax ball. And with your thread right behind the hook eye, pull back the fibers and wrap back up over them a bit to help keep the hook eye clean. Then pull the wing case up over, capture it with a couple wraps, and pull it rearward and tie back up over it, then snip off the waist. Now let's make a few more wraps to clean up and form a small head on the fly. Then whip finish from back to front and cut off the waist. Let's brush out the thorax to get some of the guard hairs to look like little legs, and also stroke back the fibers, and use your fingers to protect the rest of the fly, and use a lighter to burn off any fuzzy hairs at the whip finish. This will clean up that head, so when we cement it, it will look nice and clean. Now here I want to show you a trick. You can use this resin to paint a bit over the wing case, which will harden it. Or you can also use this medium viscosity resin by Solares to put a dot over the wing case. Spread it around the wing case and over the whip finish, and when you cure it, it will accentuate that wing case. And here I'm adding a little bit of that ultra resin over it for a final coat, and this stuff cures very shiny, which gives a nice look. Check that out. You can see that this really makes the wing case look amazing. Alright, there we have it, the more traditional hare's ear. Now, if you're new to tying, and this is one of just a handful of patterns you have tried, I recommend using the bag dubbing and a pheasant tail. It will be much easier to work with. However, if you want a bit of a challenge and want to tie these more like the original, give the hare's mask a try. You can tie either one of them without a bead, or add the resin wing case to either one as well. Now, hare's ear nymphs have been around for a very long time. In fact, it's one of the oldest patterns out there, with roots back to the 1800s. Yet is still very effective to this day. It represents a caddis pupa very well, but is a really good general purpose nymph, allowing you to mimic mayfly and stonefly nymphs also. They're very durable, effective, and fairly easy to tie. These are great flies for the beginner as they're easy to tie. They also teach you important techniques like how to form dubbing noodles, ribbing flies, and are some of the best flies to teach you proportions. Because if you don't get that wing case and thorax the right size, this fly won't look great. However, it's not a fly only for the beginner. Many advanced fishermen still fish and tie these. Now, we are starting this new series on beginner fly patterns. This is a continuation of last month's series. If you're just getting into tying and haven't watched that series, I really suggest doing so. I will link to it in the description section, and also at the end of this video. In that series, I went over tools that you need to start tying, how to use those tools, and other techniques you need to learn before you start your first fly, like whip finishing. I went over materials that you need to get, and showed how to tie what patterns I recommend for your very first pattern. 4 different patterns, one for each category of fishing. The zebra midge for if you want to tie nymphs, woolly buggers for streamers, foam beetle for dry flies, and a clouser minnow for saltwater flies. Now we'll continue this month with what flies I recommend for your next patterns. This week we tied the nymph that I recommend, and next week we will go over what streamer I recommend for your second pattern, the rabbit zonker. So make sure you're subscribed and click that bell notification so you don't miss any future videos like this rabbit zonker. Also, as promised, I want to let you know about the deal I negotiated with Beavis for you all. They want to give you a free bobbin holder, but you have to click the link in the description section of this video. If you want to sign up for their VIP program, which is $99, it will give you a $120 gift card to use in their store and a free shirt, which is already a great deal. With that link in the description section, they will throw in a free bobbin holder as well. This is a very good bobbin holder, one I really enjoy using. Now, if you don't want to sign up to their VIP program, they can also offer you a 10% discount on anything in their shop, just by clicking that link below. Also, check out my sponsor, Resin Fly. They made the hooks and beads I use today, but they also make some of the best fly rods and other gear for the money I have ever used. Best off, they're offering you all a discount as well, so type in McFly at checkout and they will give you 15% off your first order with them. And one last thing, I sell 3 different styles of fly boxes. A magnetic back box that is great for tiny nymphs and dry flies, a silicone back box that is awesome for medium to large nymphs and even small streamers, and an all foam fly box that has enough room in it for large streamers. I also sell hats as well that have an awesome trout pattern on them. I will link below to my Amazon storefront if you're interested in picking up some of my gear, and your purchase helps this channel keep the lights on so I can continue making videos for you all. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, please do me a favor and click the like button. Also share my videos with all your fishing friends. I will see you on the next video. Now you go catch some fish.